Yo, welcome to this introduction to lifting. This is a beginner video just for basics of general information on training and getting started in the gym for beginners and some people who have been training for a little bit and are looking for some more information. This isn't going to be a training guide. This is just going to be informational. So if you're not down for that, then cool, you can head out. I don't expect this video to do very well, but it's not for that, it's meant for education. So welcome, my name is Jason. I am Mr Wright official on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and all of those things. I am a certified personal trainer. I have been training myself for 10 years now. I compete in buildings for the last 3 years. Well, I've competed in bodybuilding for the last 3 years. I'm a lifetime natural athlete. Not that that's really important, but what this is going to be is just a breakdown of terminology, how to get into training, what to expect from it more or less, and just the basics. So first things first, let's get through some general terminology. So reps, repetitions. A single repetition is when you do an exercise, you perform one repetition. Let's say it's bench press, or a pressing movement, you go up and down. This is the concentric, this is the eccentric. Not very important for beginning, but that is one whole repetition. A collection of repetitions are called sets. So if you do 10 repetitions, that is one set, or however many sets you get. Then rep ranges, you get a range of repetitions, which is, let's say you have 6 to 12 reps. Ideally, what you want to do is choose a weight for that rep range between 6 and 12 reps. So what that means is you will fail between 6 and 12 reps. So if you can't get more than 6, or if you get 6 or less, you probably want to make the weight a little bit lighter. This is with good form, by the way, not bad form. So if your form is breaking down, it doesn't really count. If you can get 12 or more, you probably want to make the weight a little bit heavier. So that is rep range. So then you get, let's say, a warm-up, which is an initial collection of reps that is far easier than you can handle. Just to be able to get some blood flow going, to align your muscle fibers for that movement and be more proficient in it and provide lubrication for your joints, because your joints secrete a liquid to help with movement. As you move more, they will secrete more, because that's how the body works. It's very cool. Anyway, then you also get split, which is training split. So what exercises you do, what muscle groups you're training on what days. So let's say you get like a upper body, lower body split. That is going to be one day upper body, the next day lower body. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then you get like a push-pull leg split. These are all splits. These are just basically small training blocks that go week to week in most cases. Sometimes it doesn't follow the week. Doesn't really matter, but anyway, it's just an allocation of what muscle groups you train when. So yeah, a couple extra words you might want to know is hypertrophy, which is just muscle growth. That is the scientific word for it. A lot of people use that term because they want to sound clever. I'm joking, it just sounds cool. Also kind of hypertrophy. Anyway, then tension. So obviously I'm sure you know what tension is, but in terms of muscles, it's when you have active tension in your muscle. So let's say I'm doing a bicep curl. When the weight is pulling on my bicep and I'm resisting, that is tension created there is tension created there. So that's what tension is. Now that we have some basic terms, let's go into your goals. So why are you getting into training in the first place? This is something I usually do. One of the first few questions I ask my clients, what are you trying to achieve here at the gym? So are you trying to build muscle? Are you trying to gain strength? Are you trying to lose fat? Are you trying to do all three? Or are you trying to do two of them? Which is possible. In terms of muscle growth, that is usually like bodybuilding training. Then you get strength training, which is like powerlifting, and then you get losing fat, which is mostly diet. More on that later. I would generally recommend starting a general workout plan, which is like just going in, and it's basically for muscle growth, because you will be getting stronger regardless, especially in the beginning, and you will be losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time if you are a beginner. Something I will say about your training goals, in most cases what you want to do is build muscle, because strength comes as a side effect to building muscle, so you will be getting stronger with muscle hypertrophy training, as they call it, or muscle growth training. I wouldn't worry too much about that unless you are specifically trying to go into a strength sport like strongman or powerlifting. In the workplace, like if you're working construction and you want to make your life a lot easier, I would still recommend general muscle growth training, because ultimately muscle growth is not, or specific training is not necessarily going to be helpful for that, because you do very low repetitions and you do heavy loads, so it's acute bursts of force in like for a very limited time, whereas like if you work in construction, you're carrying heavy stuff constantly, so that's where muscular endurance will come in handy from muscle growth training. There are a couple of main different styles of training or sports or whatever, like I just mentioned. So in terms of sport specific goals or training a specific way, you get CrossFit training, which is cross training as they call it. It's supposed to be a combination of cardio and strength training, which it's turned into something quite different, but it's essentially high intensity training with weights, and then so fast activity, you do a certain exercise for time instead of with rep ranges and goals, like things like that. So let's say you're doing overhead press, so you're pressing something overhead, you'll have a set weight and you'll do that for as many reps as you can in a specific time, and the goal is to get as many as you can in that time frame. So I'm not a huge fan of that personally, because it can lead to injury very easily, since you are trying to use as much force as quickly as possible, especially in the beginning. I would not recommend that for beginners. Then you get powerlifting, which is trying to lift specific exercises such as the bench press, the squats, the deadlift, for the most amount of weight possible, which is a lot of neurological adaptation or a lot of brain learning thing. So you're trying to push as much weight as possible. It's more of a skill, let's say, than building new muscle tissue. You obviously will build muscle still, but it's mostly skill that you're learning instead of trying to build more muscle. And then you get bodybuilding, which is what I do and what a lot of people do unintentionally. It's just building your body, so trying to intentionally gain more muscle, which is very healthy tissue, by the way. It's very good for your life. It will allow you to eat more food. Because you can burn more energy. Obviously it's not that much of a difference, but over the years and through time it does become like it's somewhat of a factor. And then it's pretty nice, because you get strong as well as you get good muscular endurance, so you get strong in multiple repetitions and for an extended period of time. And then you'll obviously get cardio, which is, we don't talk about cardio, but anyway. So a general program you probably want to consider as a beginner would probably be, I would recommend going at least 2 times per week to resistance train. Doesn't really matter what your goals are in the end. Start out small, baby steps. Do not go and try to go absolutely ham, think you got to do everything and anything absolutely yourself, and then try and like get as sore as possible, as much pain, because you're not going to enjoy that. Ideally you want to make it sustainable. You want to make it reasonable for yourself so that you would enjoy it and come back. Ideally I would suggest a minimum of 2 times per week. That is the minimum amount you need according to recent research for minimal strength and hypertrophy gains. So 2 times per week. If you're doing 2 times per week, I would recommend training full body both of those days. I will get to what that means in a couple seconds. And then if you're training more than 2 times per week, let's say 3 times a week, I would still recommend doing full body. So let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then you do full body, full body, full body, and then you rest Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday and Sunday. If you're doing 4 days or more per week, I would recommend doing lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body, or lower body, upper body, rest, lower body, upper body. You can alternate the lower body and upper body. It's not very important in the beginning. So what does that mean? Training your lower body muscles on one day and training your upper body muscles on another day. Pretty self-explanatory. You can do it according to the week, you can do it however you want. Ideally you want to train all of your muscle groups at least twice a week. The smaller muscle groups, because they are smaller, recover faster. Obviously smaller muscles can get more blood in them quicker than bigger muscles, and they can heal much faster. So bigger muscles like your legs, they are going to take a lot longer to heal than smaller muscles. Ideally you want to train fresh, so you want to be healed. You don't want to go into a workout sore. You can, it's not going to be the end of the world, and you probably will get sore for first couple sessions. For a while you will be sore. It's going to be quite painful, but don't do ice baths. It's going to ruin your progress. Not necessarily ruin completely, but it's not going to help you, that's for sure. There has been numerous studies at this point confirming that cold temperatures are not great for muscle growth and progress. Why? Because cold causes vasoconstriction, which is shrinking of your veins, reducing blood flow. So it might make it seem like you're not sore anymore, but that's just because it's numbed your nerves and it's reduced blood flow. So it slows the healing process and it makes you numb to the pain, which is ideally not a good combo. Otherwise, heat would be a good idea. That's something I would encourage because it causes vasodilation, which is increasing of the blood vessel size, which allows for more blood flow, which is good. Blood flow helps with muscle gain, helps with nutrient partitioning, so getting nutrients that you've eaten from your food and spreading them out throughout your body, which is what partitioning is. And then you get something. I do not remember what I was saying, but let's see. So heat is good for gains. There we go. I remember. Cold is not good for gains. Try and keep your muscles warm. So I'm wearing long pants. I'll train legs today. So don't try and get rid of the soreness though. Soreness is probably a good thing. Not necessarily, but we don't really know what soreness means at this point in terms of research, but it means that you've probably done something, and getting rid of that means you're trying to speed up your body's recovery. And what happens when you rush things? They don't get done properly, so you won't get the most of your gains that you could have if you try and rush the recovery process. Obviously, if you have something coming up and you kind of need to be ready and fresh, like a sports game or something, that's a different story. There's nuance to all of these things, and there's no black and white, there's shades of grey. Don't be weird about that. Anyway, so You probably want to train for muscle growth in most cases, unless you're training for a specific goal, and muscle is very good tissue. Resistance training also strengthens your bones. So I don't care how old you are, that is a good thing. You want stronger bones, especially for females. Ladies out there, you should be resistance training. Like, I don't care what you say. If you're scared of getting too bulky, you will not. I know people who have been trying to get too bulky for years and they are still skinny. Men that have been trying for years. You will not get too bulky unless you have extremely good genetics. And if you have extremely good genetics and build muscle, turn into the Hulk after lifting a weight once, then you can go and compete and make a lot of money for easy, or start an Instagram or something, whatever. Anyway, I promise you it's not something to worry about. If you are worried about it, train 2 times a week. Get minimum effective volume. So volume is the collection of weights times reps times sets per week. So it's how much total weight you've lifted for a given period of time, and you can reduce that to adjust how much progress you're making. Not necessarily like that, but you can do minimum effective volume, so just the smallest amount that will maintain your gains, or potentially give you the smallest amount of gains that you can get. But keep in mind, training will give you, so in your first year or two, you will get exponential results. Your mind will be blown. You'll be like, whoa, that's so much progress. And then the next year you'll get a little bit less, and then the next year a little bit less, and then the next year a little bit less. So it is diminishing returns. You don't get the same results as you do in your first couple years. Just keep that in mind. So if you're a female and you're like, oh no, I tried to train one time and I got way too bulky, like, that's just the first little bit. Don't worry, it doesn't keep going that speed. It will slow down, and you can also adjust your food intake to accommodate for that. Talk about that now. So some side notes. Nutrition. Try and get in at least 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So your body weight times 1.6, I am 90 kilograms, so let's say I'm 100 kilograms, just for simplicity's sake, 160 grams of protein minimum per day, ideally 1.8. If you can get 2 grams per day, that will probably be optimal, so ideal, but that will result in the most gains possible. Your body uses protein as its primary source of muscle building material, so the more protein you eat, not necessarily, but there's been a couple of studies saying that the more protein you eat, the more muscle gain you get, but obviously it's diminishing returns, and there has not been a breakpoint done on those studies, so they don't necessarily know if that's the case, that if you just keep eating more, you keep getting more gains. But get in enough protein. So enough protein, the minimum 1.6 grams times your body weight. So half of your body weight plus your body weight, basically. Maybe a little bit more. So, but ideally 1.8 grams or 2. Just double your body weight. That's a lot easier than working it out with 1.6, 1.8, whatever. And then that's your protein goal. So for me, 180 is the minimum I aim for. And if you're trying to get to a certain level of musculature, the amount of protein you want to consume is the body weight you would like to be. Like, this is a very controversial take, but I've heard it a couple times and I found it for myself. The more protein I eat, the better my body composition gets. I'm speaking too fast, I need to slow down, but yeah. So eat fruits, eat veggies, eat whole foods. Don't worry about sweeteners, artificial sweeteners. They're not going to kill you. If they were, I would have died years ago. I consumed so much artificial sweetener, but there's been numerous studies confirming the safety of them. You would have to drink like the equivalent of 36 cans per day of Coke Zero in order for it to be considered even slightly risky. Not even per day, that's within 15 minutes, by the way. So do not worry about that. It has been shown to help with weight loss. It keeps you full, the carbonation. Obviously it's not the best for your teeth, so just be wary of that if you're considering spamming Coke Zeros and things like that. Otherwise, you should be good. Try and get in fruits and vegetables, get your fiber, don't be afraid of carbs. Do not be afraid of carbs. I see you, Karen. Chill. It's not going to kill you unless you are diabetic or your doctor tells you to avoid carbs. Don't worry. Carbs are good. Carbs are our primary sources of energy. Don't cut out specific food groups unless it's for ethical reasons or medical reasons. Food, we are omnivores. That's how we were designed as humans. We need all the food groups to be in an optimal state of existing. Last point, sleep. Make sure you are getting enough sleep for you. How many hours that is completely individual. Some people prefer 6 hours, some people prefer 9. See how it goes. Try and experiment with different numbers of sleep hours. See when you feel the best. Make note of it. Like, think about it. When you wake up, like, damn, do I feel tired today after I just slept for how many hours? Yes, no, maybe. See how you feel throughout the rest of the day, and then voila, you've got how much sleep you need. You can even get a watch that tracks it like this one. I just got a cheap one. You can get those rings, those Aura rings or whatever, if you got the money for it. But otherwise, yeah, that's it. Peace. That should be a decent amount of information for you to start training. Go to the gym. I promise you, it will be one of the best decisions you make for your life. It'll improve your body composition. It'll improve your mind composition. Like, you'll think better of yourself. Helps with blood flow in the brain as well. So get more nutrients in your brain. It will help with thinking and everything about your life. Stay healthy, stay happy, and peace.